All right, so it is live Q&A night. I just want to set up. I'm gonna figure out. Hang on a second. Stay with me. That might be really loud in a second. We're gonna find out. Oh, maybe I can't. Can I do that? Oh, I guess it's not gonna let me do that. All right, that's cool. We'll do this the other way. That's fine. All right. View. All right. Oh, okay. Hang on a second. I'm having a minor technical difficulty, so just bear with me for a second.
Difficulty right at the moment.
Well, no, I went live in my Facebook group, and now I was trying to do a watch party, and it's not flipping letting me. So I'm gonna go live on my page too, and just do that, and screw it. I'll be live in 3 places at the same time, and do my best here.
You're saying off air, you're everywhere.
Yeah, no, and I just cranked up your volume, so hopefully the people on Facebook can hear you because they can't see you. And then what I'll do is I'll just take the video down after and post this one.
Okay.
I think that makes sense, right? I'm pretty spot on. I think I'm
Okay.
pretty spot on. I don't know. So let's do that. Ooh, I don't know who Amy is, but hi, Amy. Okay. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Okay. I'm gonna put a penny lipstick on. I just realized that.
You're fine.
All right. Um,
Stick on either.
that would be interesting. Oh, it's not gonna. Okay, well, that's just SOL there. All right, so it is what it is. So here we
Okay.
go. Yeah, I got nothing. Yeah, I went live on the one Facebook, went live on my Facebook page. It's not letting me go live on my business page, but that's okay. Like I said,
Oh,
I'm just end up just kind of taking them off anyways and posting this one. So we're good.
okay. Well, now we're here with you, and we find out about you.
I know, right? It's crazy.
Yes. So it's gonna be interesting here for everybody who doesn't kind of know you like I know you, and folks on my page, and folks on your page who may think they know you, but now they get to kind of know a little bit more of you, and conversation and stuff. So
Yeah. So
so
guys, I know this is a little bit weird. I'm going to interrupt you because that's obviously what I do with my life is I'm a chronic interrupter. So if you didn't know that about me, now you know. No, so I am live on Vibrant, Carefree, and Fabulous Females. I'm live on my personal page. So if you're out there and you're joining me, totally drop me a comment. If you catch the video on the replay, you can drop me a hashtag replay. Facebook, this is going to seem kind of weird because I have got my friend Mel here as a guest interview. Those of you that know Mel, fabulous. Like it's my personal page. Some of you do know him. You're only going to be able to hear him because I could not find a way to do double duty and bring him on there as well. But I am going to post the full video with him in it after, so be ready for that. But right now, you just got to keep your ears open.
I'm not worth seeing anyway. So things I wanted to ask you here to get it started was the first thing I want to ask you is, for a lot of people who don't know, you are a businesswoman, business person, and I want to know, what was the impetus for you to start a business? What made you say, you know what, I can do? Starting a business is really scary for a lot of people, and it's like, I got to do stuff on my own. I got to have my own ideas. What was the impetus for you to say, you know what, I can do this? What made you think that?
That is such a great question. Oh my God. So that was a while back. Yeah. I basically was sick of my 9 to 5. Decided I didn't like it anymore. I really liked teaching yoga and I liked helping people. And I really hadn't put much thought into a business until I was actually teaching at the studio and just talking to some people. And they kind of were like, why don't you charge for this stuff? Like, it's so good. And I'm like, can I do that? Like, am I allowed to do that? So yes, I kind of came up with that idea, and then I was on Facebook, and you know how Facebook kind of reads your mind. this
Yeah.
ad popped up, and my first business coach kind of popped up, and I was like, huh. So I started talking to her and telling her what I wanted to do, and her first business was actually a lot like what I'm doing now.
Mm.
So she was an amazing match for me. Like, it was like the universe brought us together, you know?
Right.
And basically, I said I started it as a way to get out of my 9 to 5. So I was tired of working for somebody else. I really wanted to focus on helping people. I love the yoga. I love the mindset work. And I know that it works based on people that I've now talked with, coached, done things with. It freaking works. And if I can be the person to help spread that, I'm going to keep doing it.
Well, now, let's get into that. What are the misconceptions of yoga and mindset that people have? Because when people think yoga, they think they're going to have to get themselves into a pretzel. They think they're going to have to, chant things, and that it's it's exotic and foreign to them. So, what are the things about yoga that you would really want to tell people how they can apply to your life?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, there is a lot of misconceptions around yoga, a lot of stuff running around there. So there's different types of yoga. I'll kind of start with that. There's like 8 different types of yoga. So the one that I focus on is Kundalini. So yes, I am not your average Instagram yogi, and nothing wrong with that, but I'm not the one you're going to find doing handstands and tying myself up and bending funny. Not that I can't do it, just I choose not to. Because what I focus on is Kundalini, and Kundalini is this ancient technology. It's this yoga that has been around for hundreds of, just thousands of years. It's a practice of being able to use breath work, movement, chanting. So yes, there is chanting, and the mindset work to be able to target different areas of the body for what you're looking to do. So whether it's your energy centers, if you're working on immune support, core work, your nervous system, stress, anxiety. I mean, it'll do it all. And there's a meditation, there is a yoga Kundalini movement for everything. And that's what I love. So it's a matter of being able to learn how to use those to help yourself grow better. And what I really love about Kundalini, and that was why I was drawn to it, is it's considered a householder's yoga. So it's for every body, pun intended. It really is. And the idea is that we all have lives. We have households to run. We have kids. We have work. We have family. I mean, you name it, we all have stuff. But Kundalini is something that anybody, whether you're a CEO in New York, I don't know, a mom in Oklahoma, a surfer in California, it doesn't matter. It's built for everybody because it's really, I won't say beginner focused, but it's done in a way that anybody can do it.
Right. Speak to a lot of guys out there, because there's a lot of guys who, they have a misconception about yoga, saying that, some guys, not all of them, that it's a woman's kind of, sense of mindset. Explain to a lot of guys how this can be beneficial for them as well.
That's the funny thing with Kundalini. It was made by guys. It wasn't for girls.
Right.
Back when they did it, especially when the Sikhs were using it, it was guys were the ones who did the yoga. And these were high guys, like, honestly, like priests, things like that. But these were guys that were well up on the food chain. Yeah, women weren't even allowed to do it. Like, that's the crazy part. So yeah, when guys were like, oh my God, it's for girls. I got news for you. When yoga first started, it was men.
Why
so
do you
hear about the different gurus and the different, teachers in yoga?
Yeah.
Most of them, I got news for you. Most of them are men.
Why do you think it's gotten to morphed into that stereotype?
I think it has a lot to do with what we talked about on Saturday. I think it's come down to it seems like a very feminine energy, and depending on the type of yoga that you do, like vinyasa, for example, that's all nice, smooth lines. It's a lot of flowy movements. Yeah, you kind of got to bend a certain way. And I think the misconception is guys think I can't bend that way. It's not masculine. It has that kind of edge to it. But when it comes to, like I said, with Kundalini, like I said, it's for everybody. I mean, I've done Kundalini classes where I've had more guys than girls.
Right.
And it really is a matter of strength, because Kundalini, it's not just, like I said, those flowy, bendy movements. I mean, we do core work. So I'm talking planks. We do leg lifts. We do all that kind of stuff. And I got to say, yeah, guys are more built for that usually.
Right.
You know, when we start doing, you know, chaturangas, that's like push-up movements. I mean, that's stuff that, you know, as girls we can do it. But yeah, I mean, this is stuff that physically, if guys want a good workout without necessarily stepping foot in a gym, like if you can't, like for example, like with COVID,
Yeah.
this is still going to give you the workout you want because it's a full body workout. That's the difference.
Right. And that's awesome to hear, because a lot of guys that I've spoken to, you know, that like me, I go to the gym, and you know, I have a spiritual side, and I would be drawn to yoga to do different things. But there's a lot of guys who don't have that, and they think that it's something that it's not. So that's why I wanted to touch upon, you know, the stereotype that is yoga, and how, you know, how do you think that you can draw more uh, of your followers who are guys, who are watching out here? How do you think that you can, you know, say, hey guys, come into this, and you know, this is good for your mind and body? How do you, how would you sell that to them?
Well, it's funny because I really don't target guys. Most of my whole business has been around coaching women, so it really hasn't been a priority for me. But
Right.
obviously, I'm more than open to it. I will, like I said, I'll take on anybody who's ready for their spiritual journey, for
Hmm.
anybody who's trying to go into that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'll take, you know, anybody that wants to do it because I'll never turn away anybody who's ready for their journey.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, as far as getting guys into it, I think seeing it more often, like when I hold my, you know, free classes. Like I said, next week I'm doing the breathing workshops. I think it's a great opportunity, you know, just to jump in and try it
Yeah.
and see how you feel it and, you know, take a look at it, especially because I love teaching live. I like doing a lot of my Zoom coaching so you can actually see me. So this way you actually get a real feel for it. It's not like getting a workout video and trying to do it at home. Like, you know, when you used to pop like the video and the DVD and the TV, and it's not as much fun.
Right.
I think that's a mental thing for guys. They like to be stimulated on that level. So I feel like, you know, just like I said, like a workout DVD or pulling up a YouTube video isn't that fun. Like, think
Yeah.
about it. You go to the gym and it's almost like a competition. Like, it's a mental thing. Like, oh, if you can bench, I can do it. Or like
Right.
if I, you know, you get that atmosphere. And that's what I love about Kundalini because it's all about willpower. It's all about discipline. A lot of the poses or the things we do them for 3 to 5 minutes. So you're really working the body. So if you want to get a little competitive and have an edge, like this is for you.
Right. You mentioned a spiritual journey. I want to kind of delve into that a little bit, because you had to have a spiritual journey, you know, to accept Kundalini, to want to be there. So, you know, what was where were you in your mindset before you started to accept Kundalini? Kind of brief everybody. I kind of know the story, but I'd like to tell everybody where you were in your life.
Oh man. So when I started my yoga practice, my spiritual practice, when I started that, I guess 2000, so it was 2017. So I guess about 3.5 years ago now, because like I said, my journey kind of started a little before the actual yoga.
Mhm.
At that point, I was at rock bottom. I know rock bottom is different for everybody, but I feel like I had to fall as far as I could, almost like I think of a phoenix. Like I had to burn before I could turn into something new.
Yeah.
Um, I had just got out of a very long-term relationship that was kind of just and I didn't see it at the time, but I see it now. It was like one big mind fuck. Um, I switched jobs. So I went from working, you know, 50 plus hours a week to a regular 9 to 5 and had all this spare time on my hands, which I can answer. When you have anxiety and depression, when you get spare time on your hands, it's not really great because your mind has all these chances to wander instead of being busy.
Yeah.
So that wasn't healthy. And for me, like when I get stressed and that kind of stuff happens, I tend to go the other way. Like I don't really eat. I tend to sleep way too much. I mean, all the, like I said, this classic signs of depression, it wasn't good. But back then, like I said, I had all these life changes and I really had a lot of dramas going on and I didn't know how to handle it. And people in my life, I'd have one person being supportive, the next person telling me to suck it up, this one telling me it's not my fault, this one, yeah, and it just, none of it was satisfying for me. And like I said, I hit rock bottom and I got to a point where nothing was working. Everything sucked. And unfortunately, yeah, I didn't see any other way out but to end my life. And that's a scary thought. I know that can be, you know, scary for people to hear. And if you've never been there, God bless you. But, you know, if you have, you know.
Right.
And like I said, it was stupid things that would come to my mind. Like I'd be driving down the road and be like, well, if I just like turn my car off this street or crash in the telephone pole, that'll work, right? And then I'm like, well, what if it doesn't? And then you're in the hospital with 100 broken bones. This whole thing just sucks worse.
Right.
So it got to a point for me. And then, yeah, when finally it must have been, like I said, that official burn and maybe my soul finally opened up. But my first teacher reached out to me, and that was how I started. It was just this perfect stranger basically opened a door for me.
Right. Do you think that a lot of people have to reach a rock bottom to kind of grab up to a spiritual rope and get themselves out of it? Do you think they need to be there to say, I need something?
I don't think they need to. I think a lot of people start there. Usually it's some kind of relationship ended or you lost a job or something
Yeah.
bad happened.
Right.
But for some people, it's just they get to a point where they've grown so much and they've gotten to this space where they just need something more. I mean, that's your adrenaline junkies, and that's your people that are just, they're super satisfied with life, but they just still want something else.
Right.
And, you know, maybe they were just looking for a new outlet. And I think that's something, I mean, I don't know, you know, where everybody else is in the world, but like when I grew up, yeah, I went to church and I did certain things, but, you know, like I said, religion was not for me.
Right.
But spirituality is for me.
Right.
Because I can have faith in something bigger than myself. I can believe in miracles. You know, I can trust that there's something out there that has my back without feeling like I'm stuck in some religious, you know, rites or things I have to do.
You're right. Well, talk about a little bit about your upbringing and how your mindset was. Did you have a particular philosophy or mindset before you made a complete turn into what you're becoming? Did you have a mindset? How was your thinking about life in general?
Oh, man. Yeah, that is a big question. So, I mean, when I grew up in a pretty normal family. I guess you could say normal. And you had a mom, a dad, and a sister. Like, there's four of us. You know, my dad always worked two jobs. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. My sister and I were super tight when we were younger. Went on family vacations. Like, everything seemed pretty normal. You know, your parents push you to do well in school and do sports. And, you know, I was in band and all these things and pretty well-rounded.
Yeah.
It was after I got out of high school and I went to college. I went for about 2.5 years. And the first year I stayed on campus that it was like my first real sense of freedom.
Yeah.
And being around people my own age. And, you know, it didn't, and it's funny because it didn't really work for me because, like, I wasn't into parties and I didn't like crowds and all these things. And at that point, I guess maybe somebody should have realized I had some kind of anxiety or depression. But back then, we didn't really talk about that stuff. You know, I didn't go to therapy. Nobody, you know, my family was not going to be like, oh, go see a therapist. Like, no, it was just something like, you'll figure it out.
Right.
And then I didn't know what I wanted to do. I went to school for music. I thought I was going to be a music teacher. And about a year or so in, it was just not for me. I didn't like going to class. Like I said, I couldn't really sit there and listen to the teacher in PowerPoints. I tend to fall asleep. It just wasn't really, it wasn't working for me. And then I quit, and my family was not too happy about that. I know my mother was not happy. My dad had always been a working person. He didn't go to college. So he was just kind of like, well, make sure you get a job and you have to figure out what you want to do now.
Yeah.
And at that point I was back under my parents' roof. So that was stressful because then, you know, at this point I've now had freedom. So it's like, well, I want to go out. I want to go see people. I want to do things. Well, you need to be back by 12. And oh my God. Yeah, no, that didn't work out so well for me either. And that was when I started teaching dance. And I was working part-time at the grocery store. Again, no idea what I wanted to do. Way too much alcohol involved. Late nights. Like I said, I mean, I'd get a couple hours sleep and I was running on empty. It was crazy. But basically, I see it now. And I think a lot of it was just to mask. And like I talked about, having the downtime where my mind didn't have a chance to spiral.
Right.
You know, and again, I was arrogant. I was youthful. Thought I was invincible. Like, it's fine.
Right.
And then, yeah, that didn't go so well. And then that was right around the time that I actually got arrested for a DUI. So I got in trouble for that one. Nothing bad. Like, I didn't hurt anybody or whatever. I mean, I was parked in my car and sleeping, and my keys were in the ignition. So that's it. There you go. I mean, two wrongs don't make a right, but just so people know, I wasn't driving drunk. But it came down to that, and that's when I moved out. I moved in my first apartment, started life on my own and being my own person. I got promoted at the grocery store to management, so I was, helping manage a grocery store at a very young age, which is crazy because most people that work there are twice my age and don't want to listen and, just think I don't know anything. And it's like, well, I did work my way up from part-time to where I'm at. It wasn't like I just,
Right.
but that's okay. So that had its own pressures aside, and again, that was a lot of work hours, crazy, crazy days, nights, weekends, holidays, you name it. So I didn't really see my family. Didn't have a lot of time for friends. Like I said, I got into a relationship with my ex, and again, that didn't go very well. Big age gap, lots of cheating, lots of fun stuff there. So that was kind of rough, and we did kind of, move in pretty quick, things like that. But I mean, regardless, it was just what it was.
Right.
And then, so all of that happened. And again, I at that point was when I tried going to therapy. I went and they told me, yes, I have anxiety and depression. Okay, so now I've got words to put with this thing. But then it was, well, we're going to put you on meds. It'll fix it. Okay, well, you're talking to the girl who didn't even like taking an aspirin. I mean, yeah, I probably self-medicated with alcohol, but I didn't take an aspirin. So
Right.
I remember the first medication turned me into a total zombie. That was horrible. I had no personality, and I was just like mellow and spaced out. The next one was better, but it like messed with my hormones really bad, and then I had to go to the doctor and switch birth controls and things like that. And it just got out of control trying to juggle all these things together. And it's like, why am I putting all of this in my body? This is just not helping. And then I decided, well, maybe I'll do it without the meds. I'll work on the mindset side. So my therapist was great. Like, that was what she was focusing on with me. But because I wouldn't take the meds, I got news for you. They literally were like, well, if you're not going to see the doctor, you're not going to take the meds, and you're not going to try it, then we don't want to see you. What does that tell you? Like, how fucked up is the system for that to happen? Let me just throw that out there.
Yeah.
So that happened.
So how did you change your mindset? Because you mentioned that word, and that's a key word for anybody to turn a corner, to start to see things, for their eyes to begin to be open. So explain how you encourage people to change their mindset, learning what you've learned and what works.
Yeah, mindset was a big one. Because deep down, like in your subconscious, I mean, that's what creates your outlook on things. Because that's what really is ingrained in your body.
Right.
And your body will follow your mind. So your mind is the first thing that you got to get on board, or nothing is going to work.
Right.
So it was right after all of this happened. So now we're up to 2017, and I started my yoga practice. And as I started meditating and actually letting things come up and letting my mind wander a little bit and dig into the recesses, like, that was mind-blowing to see how much stuff I had buried in there. And I got news for you. You bury a lot of shit.
Right.
And when it comes up, it's not always a good time, but it is something you need to see.
Right.
So I started learning how to love myself. I mean, that wasn't a phrase we used when I was growing up. Like I said, I always considered myself, like, I had low self-esteem. I always considered myself an ugly duckling. I didn't get dressed up. I didn't do my hair. I didn't wear makeup, like all these things. I mean, and now, like you saw the first 2 minutes of the video, I'm like, I don't have lipstick on. Oh my God. Because, I mean, these are things that now make me feel good. Like, I work from home and I go out of my way to play with my hair and put makeup on just so I feel good.
Right.
When you look good, you feel good. It's a mental thing.
Right.
But I also had to dig deep because, like I said, I thought everything was my fault. I thought people didn't love me. I thought I couldn't be loved. I mean, there had to be something wrong with me for all these things to happen when I thought I was doing all the right things.
Right.
So I really had to dig in and reframe and rebuild. It was wild. I mean, and that took a lot of time. That was a lot of yoga. That was like, I started going to the gym, and like aesthetically, my body started changing, and I liked the way that I looked.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I started taking better care of me. I started eating better. I started getting up early in the morning so I'd have time for me before my 9 to 5.
Right.
Rather than just, sleeping as late as I could, grab the coffee and run, work all day, and then go home and pass out. Like, what's the point of that? Like, you're not living.
Right.
And then on weekends, I made it a point to, I'd still get up and go to the gym. I'd still do the right things. And even now, like, I have my roller coaster days where some days it's like I don't even want to do it. And that's okay. Like, we all have our days.
Yeah.
And you have to accept it. Sometimes your body just needs rest. Sometimes you have to listen to yourself.
Right.
And that's your mind helping you too, because it knows you need a break. And that's when it gives you that intuitive nudge when you realize you've, things that are no longer serving you in your life, toxic people, you don't have boundaries, things like that.
Right.
Yes, I mean, your mindset, that is why I'm a big advocate of that. And that's what I love about Kundalini, because between the willpower and the discipline of the yoga practice itself, that makes you mentally stronger to handle all the other little things in your life.
Well, talk about, is it a scary thing to go within yourself and see all the things good and bad about yourself? Is that a scary process for, because what do you consider yourself? Do you consider yourself an introvert, an extrovert, what, of how your mentality is? Because a lot of that, when you're digging inside, has a lot to, weighs a factor,
I think I'm an extroverted introvert. um, because I like my me time. I like my space. I like being by myself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do know that if I continue to do that, I get down my rabbit hole where I get into those anxiety and depressive spaces, and I need to get out.
Right.
So, and when I am around people that I know and that I trust and that I like, yeah, I'm like crazy. I talk a lot and I'm all in and all these things. But if I go somewhere I don't know people, I'm kind of like, I sit back and I'm like, let me observe first. Let me see. And it's not like a trust thing. It's just a matter of, I'm like, this is not comfortable.
Right.
So yeah, that's why I feel like I'm an extroverted introvert.
So that goes in line about what we were talking about Saturday, getting out, getting comfortable, getting uncomfortable. So how do you do that? How do you negotiate? I'm uncomfortable, but I have to make this situation comfortable for myself.
So remember when we talked about starting my own business, and I was doing my business online. So you know what that means? People need to see you online.
Right.
My first video I ever did, it's on YouTube, folks. So if you want to have a good laugh, go on my YouTube and go way back to my first video. Horrible. Oh my God. Horrible. Like I watch it now and I'm like, oh. But yeah, for me to do this, like to go on live and just talk about myself and all of my like scary stuff and embarrassing stuff. And yeah, I mean, obviously at this point I've got no shame, but it's like, this is an experience like this, like putting yourself out in front of millions of people. It's a little scary. I got news for you.
Right.
So yeah, if you want to get past that space of like, oh my God, of people and things, just go live. Go for it. Change your whole perspective. Promise you.
Is it much easier for you now to put yourself out there, and because you're so good at it, when you do your own lives by yourself, has it become like, oh, this is old hat, or do you still get a little nervous right before you go live? Me being a musician, right before 2 seconds before the first note, I'm like anxious, but then I'm in it. I don't have time to be nervous anymore. Do you experience the same thing?
No, I really don't. I'll be honest with you. That's why I was laughing, because Saturday was probably the first time I felt nervous in a while, because I had to interview you, and I was like, man, this first question, like, what if I don't say it right? What if I stutter? Like, what if I fuck this up? Like, that was how I felt. But no, usually it's funny, and I think that comes down to the yoga teaching, because we always kind of prep first. Like before I teach a class, I'm always there like 20 minutes early or so, and I breathe and I do my breath work, and it calms me down immediately. So as soon as I hit the live button or the record button, or if it's a live class, and I just immediately open my mouth and I'm like, welcome.
Right.
There's no nerves at that point. Everything is like, we're here, we're present, this is cool, it's happening, here we are.
Right.
And I really attribute that to the breath, which connects to your brain and your mindset, which then helps the body to not have that fear.
Right. One of the things I admire about you is that you talk quite a bit about life habits and what people need to do, because this is such an ADD type of society that we have, where people want instant gratification. They want the thing now. It's got to happen now. And you describe to people life habits. Kind of touch upon that a little bit about how you tell people about life habits, how you had to make yourself, into life habits so that you could get to do something as well. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, life habits are a big part of what I do with my coaching. I create personalized life plans. I branded myself as the yoga lifestylist. So kind of took my holistic coaching idea and turned it into more of I guess kind of to have more of a yoga basis, because I feel like that's the missing piece. Because I've had coaches and I've coached people. And when I first started, I wasn't as focused on the yoga. So I was more focused on just, the mindset and the holistic habits. And I feel like that was something that I didn't realize the connection until I really realized that it was the Kundalini that was the missing piece for a lot of what I had. So that's why I believe in that, because Kundalini in itself is a multi-dimensional life habit, because it's physical, it's mental, it's emotional, and spiritual. So that is that practice in and of itself. The other big life habit I always advocate is meditation, because that is breath work, that is helping you focus, that's bringing down your stress levels, it helps with your immune system, it does all these amazing things for you.
Right.
And then the eating portion, if you're eating right, and I'm not going to say, I don't care if you're a carnivore, you're an herbivore, you're vegan, you're pescatarian, whatever you are, whatever it is for you, but it's taking the right things in your body. It's hydrating, it's eating the healthy foods, and have your cheat day here or there, but that's super important, because that's what's going to support you on the physical side of your health and wellness. It's going to help you sleep better. It's going to help you feel better.
Right.
And for me, like I told you, I don't take an aspirin. Like, I don't advocate medicine of any kind. Do what you got to do. Obviously, if you're sick, go to the hospital, call an ambulance, do what you need to do. I'm not telling you not to go get an antibiotic, but there are other alternatives. Like I said, I use my essential oils for basically everything, because my doTERRA is safe to do that. So I use it to cook with, to use in my house. I use it for, stuff in my shower. I use it to clean with, because that's getting toxins away from my body. That's helping me use alternatives that are better for me. And when you encompass all of that and you really start to do it, you think about it, even like, 80% of the time, that is a game changer, because now you're treating your body with respect.
Yeah.
You're now treating yourself with love and care. And then when you do that, again, your subconscious will get on board, which will keep the body moving in that direction. Because it's always the hardest thing when you start doing new habits, is you gotta break the old ones and instill the new ones.
Right.
And that can take up to 66 days. It's not an instant gratification process. It does take time, it does take patience, and it takes consistency.
Right.
But like I said, you'll thank yourself for it later, because you're going to build that self-trust with yourself. Because if you make yourself a commitment that says, well, I'm going to eat these certain foods, I'm going to work out 3 times a week, I'm going to meditate 5 days a week, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and you actually do it, again, your subconscious goes, okay, I'm in, I feel good, we're actually doing this, I'm going to get on board. It's when you make these commitments and then don't do it that your body's like, oh, you were funny, we're not doing that. And then you lose that trust with yourself. You immediately do. And then it's even harder to start doing new habits.
Right.
Like, the second you decide, that's the first action taker you've made, is, I'm going to get up early tomorrow. Well, go set that alarm and go to bed, because now you got to just keep going with it. Get right on there and keep moving. That's the only way new habits work.
Is that hard for your clients to, is that the hardest thing, getting them into life habits so that they can, start, they can, because that's what you have to do to get the actual ball rolling. Is that the hardest thing for people to put their toe in the water, is making the adjustment into life habits? Is that the hardest thing that you found?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, and that is why I'm here, is I am the accountability piece. Okay? It's not that you can't do it on your own. It's not that you don't know better. It's not that you can't go Google and watch a YouTube video and figure it out. It's the accountability. Like, I actually had a woman who just signed up for my my morning yoga immersion series that we're doing in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And she flat out told me, she's like, it's not that I can't do it on my own. It's not that I can't watch yoga with Adrian. She's like, I need the accountability. Like, I need to know I have to be with you at 7:30 every morning to do this series. I need to know, like, I have to be there. Like, I'm making the commitment to you. As much as she's making it to herself, it's for me. She doesn't want to let me down. And I'm like, it's not really about me. It's about you. Like, if you don't show up, you're out of pocket. It's like, you look at it that way. But if it makes you feel better to not want to let me down, please, I will happily be your accountability partner and hold you there. It's no problem.
That's the great thing about about what you do, is you do hold people accountable, and they can rely on you. They can lean on you, and you help them with that. And that seems to be the kind of foot in the ass that a lot of people kind of need. I just need somebody to tell me to do this, and along with some guidance, the guidance that you provide. So that's, I'm sure that's a great service that you do.
Yeah, and I love the way that I do it. I mean, I've found my own personality and space, I guess you can call it. It's funny because I actually had a friend of mine who flat out told me, she's like, "You're the most sassy yoga teacher I know." And I'm like, yeah, I am. Because, again, I'm not here, like I said, I do Kundalini. So I'm not here to, I guess, easy flow and baby you and do things. Like, I want you to work. I want you to get the results. I want you to be the person you want to be. And yeah, sometimes that's not just, regular love and, snuggles. Sometimes it has to be a little tough love. And, you don't hire me to, be your best friend. That's not what I'm for. I'm a coach.
Right.
It's not my job. My job is to get you to where you want to be. That is my job.
Now you mentioned, I'm glad you mentioned your doTERRA oils and, in the last, because those have to do with natural remedies. Why do people find it so hard to venture into natural remedies? What have we been brainwashed so much about, manufactured or easy fixes, products that are out there? Why do you think that a lot of people have a hard time venturing towards natural holistic things that can help them better without chemicals?
I think it comes straight back to your exact words of instant gratification.
Yeah.
You take an aspirin and 20 minutes later your headache's gone. You take an antibiotic, it gets your fever down right away. You want to clean and stuff. Well, if it doesn't say bleach on it, it must not be clean. All of these things, like people just, it's what they've been conditioned for. And, I'm not going to go down the road of politics and all that kind of shit, but, it's big pharmaceuticals. I mean, this is the stuff this is the stuff they tell you. Like, you go to the doctors and your doctor's not telling you, maybe you should change this in your diet. Or maybe the doctor immediately is like, here's a script. Good luck. I was talking to someone that I know. So so Dr. Graham runs Fresh Med in New York City. If you haven't found it or looked it up or even, go look it up because I think it's wonderful. I met him and his wife when I went to a yoga retreat up in Vermont. And the concept is all about holistic living. And that was eye-opening for me when I started my journey because, again, I started the yoga and then that was my first retreat that I went to where all of this was like mind blown. And the whole idea is like he's an internal, he does like internal medicine and things like that, but he doesn't go down the roads of meds. Like he'll actually write you a little script that you'll take to the local corner like farmer's market. And when you hand it to the guy gives you a box of like fresh food. Like he's working on that kind of concept to change
Awesome.
that. I think that's wonderful, right?
Yeah.
So that's a lot of what I do. And that's, like I said, why I advocate the essential oils because you can use them to transform what you already have.
Right.
And that's what Kundalini does too. I mean, if you have a headache, if you just go ahead and you inhale your shoulders up, exhale them down, that's releasing tension in your neck, which oftentimes causes the headache. I mean, that's not an aspirin, but do that for 3 minutes, and I promise you, your headache's probably going to be gone.
Right.
Or, take a little peppermint oil and put it on the back there, cool it down, let it release, and your headache's going to disappear. And that's not taking an aspirin. It's not putting something into your body that's going to ruin your gut health and eat away at you the more you take it.
Right.
And that's just one example. I mean, I remember I went on vacation to the Bahamas, it was 2 years ago now, I guess. And I had taken this, tour, because I'm a tourist. And the guy walked us around, and he was able to tell you, this tree is what this is for. If you use this leaf and rub it here, if you do that. And I'm just like, what? Get out of here. But this is the difference. In America, like I said, it's, and I'm not saying we're bad people by any means. It's just what we've now been conditioned for. But if it's not the easy way, we don't want to do it. And I think that's ridiculous. If it's doesn't happen fast, it doesn't give you the instant gratification, you don't want to do it. And I think that's insane. It's easier to go to McDonald's and get a Big Mac than it is to put yourself a salad together or, make your own pasta or grow your own herbs or whatever.
Right.
And that's a shame that it's cheaper to go do that than it is to do the right things.
Right. So speaking of vacation, for my followers who don't know, maybe your followers probably know, you're going to Bali. So kind of touch upon what how that came about, what you're going to be doing there.
Oh my God! So I am so excited. I'm going to embarrass Susie right now. So like you said, I had started my business. I had my first coach, which helped me get off the ground, and then I went ahead and realized a lot of it came back to mindset. So I needed a mindset coach. Well, I joined a couple of different Facebook groups, and there was one woman who stood out more than anything to me. And her name is Susie Koifer. She runs Dream Life Deluxe. So if you're on Instagram, it's Dream Life Deluxe is her handle. But yeah, her name is Susie, and she's originally from Germany, but she actually lives without a home. So she's just traveling around right now. She's, I'm not going to say stuck in Vietnam, but she's been there because of COVID, so she can't leave right now. But what had happened was I had bought all of her courses, and it was helping me transform my mindset. And she saw that, so she offered me a free coaching call. And in my eyes, this woman is like Tony Robbins. So for those of you that are excited, I don't know, pick your favorite celebrity or whoever. If you had the opportunity to meet them, like that's how I felt. I was like, oh, it was amazing. So I got on the call with her, and she just went through. It wasn't a sales call. It was just, how can I help you do something? So we went through the mindset. She gave me some journaling prompts, asked me some thought-provoking questions. And within like a half hour, it was like my mind was blown. It was amazing. And that's when we were talking about what I do for work, and she had watched some of my stuff and liked my content. And usually when she runs her Bali retreat every year, she hires a local to teach yoga. So she was like, I'm having a thought. And she had one of those intuitive nudges, and she's like, how would you like to come to Bali and teach the yoga part? And I was like, of course, like, yeah, like, I love you, of course.
You gotta think about it for like 2 days, right?
No, I think it took me about 30 seconds to register what she asked. Like, that was the problem. It was like, what? Really? Yeah, and so I did. I signed up immediately for the retreat. I went and bought my plane ticket right away. I basically went into my boss and was like, yeah, so I'm going to Bali in May. And he was like, Pam, it's June. And I was like, oh, next year. I'm just letting you know now. So, we don't have to worry about this. Even, and he was just like, I can't. Like, just tell me when you get closer. Yeah, and I got into the mastermind. And then it was funny because we were supposed to be there this past May. And it was me, Susie, and Anwar. And we had been in this group mastermind together. So it was the three of us constantly like daily chats and talking. I mean, like I said, I went from not being able to work with my favorite coach to having manifested like basically almost like one-on-one time with her. It was amazing. And then COVID happened and we couldn't go to Bali. So she was like, well, we'll set it up for this time next year. We were going to try the fall, but obviously it wasn't looking good. So we pushed it to next year. And, she opened the doors back up to try and get more women to go because we wanted a nice group of about like 6 of us to go. And the rest of the spots filled up. And she was like, well, we're going to keep doing the coaching for another year. And I was like, so I manifested another year of coaching with the woman that I've always wanted to work with. And I was like, sorry, everybody, for COVID. My bad. I don't know. I put that out to the universe and I wanted this so bad. Sorry. But, all jokes aside, I mean, it's been phenomenal. And that's something we're really working on. And I'm excited for it. Yeah, Bali's going to be amazing. I've been out of the country, but I've never been like that far out of the country.
Right.
So I'm super excited to explore a new culture. And that's really where a lot of the spirituality and yoga and things are. And I'm really excited to really immerse into that. So I think it's going to be amazing.
That's awesome. That's it's too bad that this COVID thing happened because it's. I remember when you first got it, you were really excited, and it's like this.
And I was already waiting a year, so now it's like 2 years, and I'm like, oh.
Well, that's cool. Well, now let's talk about a couple of tidbit things in your life. There, you have a son, right? You have what I call a fur son.
Yes, I have a son. He's got 4 legs and a tail. His name is Declan. He is my yoga assistant.
Yeah.
All of my ladies know because I'll get on to teach yoga and I'll be like, do you want to see the ladies? And he comes running right over. Yeah, no, he's all involved. Yeah, he is my baby. Yeah, I brought him home when he was 10 weeks, so he is my baby.
Okay. But now you talked about, music. What kind of music do you listen to? When you're doing yoga, you have different type of music going on. What do you like? What kind of things? Does it just depend on your mood or what?
Was that a shameless plug? Do you want me to tell them I use your music?
That was not a plug, but if you
So when it comes to Kundalini, and that's what I love, and I guess really any yoga you can do this with, but I really found it more with Kundalini, and I think that's a big reason why I fell in love with it as well, is the music, because you can really use any kind of music with it, as long as it's got some kind of like beat and rhythm to it. So I'll go right on Spotify and just put in like Kundalini, and it pops up like thousands of playlists.
Oh, wow.
One of my yoga teachers, she has done an amazing job putting together her library on Spotify. So I will say I do use those. But there's days like I've taught an entire class using all Beatles music. I mean,
Oh.
I've played Foo Fighters. Yes, I do use Mel's Solistic funky stuff. I mean, I mean, it really is kind of whatever I'm feeling. I mean, literally have a playlist called Off the Beat for Kundalini classes. So it's just kind of real random and out there. Like, you don't know what you're going to get.
And it all fits, for different aspects of what you're trying to do?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really. I mean, yeah, occasionally I run across a song that I'm like, oh, maybe not so much, and I got to turn it off. But for the most part, yeah, I mean, anything honestly will work. So whatever kind of mood you're in, you can really use any kind of music, and I think that's the beauty of, like I said, Kundalini, because with the movements and the breath work, and it's like the repetitive movements. When you've got a song and you're grooving to it, I think that helps with, the discipline of realizing I'm going to do this movement for 5 minutes. I'm going to breathe this way for 5 minutes.
Right.
And it helps you like mentally to like settle in and sink in when you're using something that you can groove to.
Right. So,
So I love that.
so you live down in Florida. You moved from Connecticut, where I am up here. So, tell people why you kind of made that move, and you made it on a whim because you texted me and says, "Hey, I got some news," and I was like, "Okay." Because I said, "What's going on?" You said, "I'm going to Florida."
I'm out.
Yeah, vacation? Nope, I'm moving.
Yeah, I'm out of here. Going. Yeah, no. My dad had got a condo down here, and my great aunt's down here and stuff like that. And I came down to visit, and I just fell in love with the area. It was amazing, and I went home. This was February, and I went home and was like, I'm moving to Florida because I just felt like Connecticut didn't have anything left for me. It really was just kind of a dead space, and if I wanted to grow, I needed to be somewhere that felt good. And I got news for you: Florida, it's warm, it's sunny, it's got a lot of healthy, conscious people. I mean, you look outside on any given day, people are running and rollerblading and exercising. I'm talking like tons of farmers markets. Like, it is a different environment. So as far as health and wellness went, I fell in love with it. And it's
Right.
just really cool, and it's really chill, and people were super nice. So yeah, I had gone home, and within a month, I had found a job, a realtor. I quit my job up north, sold everything that I had. I sold all my furniture and all my stuff. Basically, I put everything into my SUV and moved down here with one SUV full of stuff and my cat, and that was it, man.
So talk about fear. Were you afraid to do this? What did you have, like, oh my God, what am I doing? Or and you just said, I'm just gonna do it. Was there a pang of fear in you that this was not going to work out and this was a whim and you weren't sure, but it was just something you needed to do?
I mean, it was a little nerve-wracking. I mean, yeah, packing your whole life up with everything you've ever known to move somewhere with virtually no family down here at all, no friends. Yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking. But for the most part, I felt solid. Like I said, I'd lined up a job. I didn't, obviously know if it was going to pan out, but it was written in stone. I had it all set. It was good to go there. My realtor had already sent me like 40 places to look at and narrow it down. So I knew I was going to find a place. I had saved the money to do that. Worst case, I had my dad's condo. I had somewhere to stay. And everybody had told me the same thing. If you want to come home, you can come home. Like, it's okay. It'll be fine. My old job had said, if you ever need anything, we'll be here if you come back, whatever.
Yeah.
My yoga studio, they were my family. Same deal. They're like, you'll always be here for you. So there wasn't as much fear, I think, only because I still had the security. Does that make sense?
I got you. Yeah, there was a net. There was a little bit of a net there. It wasn't complete tightrope walk where there was nothing there.
And there was nobody who made me feel like I couldn't do it. Like, I expected my dad to freak out because I wasn't going to be there anymore. And he was like, run. He's like, there's nothing here for you.
Right.
Eventually I'm moving down there. He was like, if you're ready, he's like, go, goodbye. Like, right. And that was huge. To have that kind of support and backing it's phenomenal when you're taking a big leap of faith to do something.
Talk about your dad a little bit, because you speak to him every day. You're very close to him. Talk about that relationship a little bit and how that it has grounded you and helped you out.
So I have always been daddy's girl, 100%. Not that I didn't love my mother, but yes, I've always been daddy's girl. He got me into cars. He took me everywhere with him. I used to go to work with him. When he would go merchandising for Entenmann's, I'd ride on the floor of the truck, or I'd sit on the floor in the grocery store fixing the bottom shelf because that was all I could reach. And then even like as I got older, I'd go on vacations. It would just be me and my dad. Like we'd come down to Florida, or I would do things. If anything happened, I knew I could call him, and maybe as bad as whatever I did or what had happened, there was no fear that he wasn't going to be there for me. Like I said, when I wanted to move to Florida, I was really nervous that he would say, but he was like, I had a feeling it was going to happen. Okay. He knew, and he was, like I said, 110% behind me. And yeah, just because he's not here, I mean, I do the same thing I did up north. Even if I didn't see him every day, because we lived in the same apartment complex, I still called him every day, just to say, hey, what's up? Because, one, you're alive, and then two, yeah, we always had that connection, and it was super important. And like I said, even now, I'm not, like, I know he's there, so I'm not worried about it.
That's great. A lot of people don't have that closeness with a parental figure, and I know that's something that you're really strong on. You are daddy's girl, and he's your kind of backbone as far as everything. So that's awesome that you have that.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the few men in my life.
All right, so for inquiring minds, here's a fun question. Any tattoos that, no tattoos? No tattoos hidden somewhere where we can't see them?
I hate needles.
Ah.
The craziest piercing I had was the one in my nose, and that was a chore. I got news for you. I hate needles. Mm-hmm.
Well, that was just an inquiring mind, want to know thing. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, I've picked out some designs. I have a little album in my phone, but it's probably never going to happen.
Well, okay, what would you get?
So I have these cool, really neat, like almost like yoga mandala designs. So they're pretty intricate, but they look really neat.
Yeah.
So that would be definitely something I would do. But yeah, no, I don't like needles. It freaks me out.
It's nothing to it, really. Once it feels like just a little bit of bee sting.
Yeah. You all
Well,
say that.
you're gonna do it. You're gonna break out of your comfort zone. I know that.
And I really got to make sure you like it, because you're stuck with that. I got news for you. It's not like me taking my piercings out. Like, not a stuff will close up. Like, no,
right.
no.
I agree with that. You have to get something that means something to carry with you for the rest of your life. So maybe in the future. So a lot of people don't know. But I'll ask you, what is your heritage background?
So, in case you can tell, I'm Irish. I am German. I'm English. I am Scottish. And thanks to Ancestry DNA, I found out I am 5% Norwegian.
Wow.
So a little Viking in there.
Well, these are like just fun questions. People don't know these things about you, and we're just trying to.
Well, this is the rapid fire round. We've got 5 minutes left, so I'll take all of these fun questions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're just seeing what Pam is all about there. So, what do you like to do in your free time when you're not, being the businesswoman that you're the hustling stuff and doing things? What do you like to do in your free time?
Well, of course, I'm in Florida, so I do hit the beach. That happens.
Yeah.
I've been big the last year since I've been down here. I've really been exploring a lot of the state parks and nature walks and things like that. That is something I like to do. Like last weekend, I went to the lighthouse, and I thought that was awesome. I mean, like, I guess as far as health and wellness, I mean, I do go to the salt cave once a week. I'm a firm believer in that. I think that's really great for cleaning out your lungs and all that. I do hang out here at Paws. It's the neighborhood kava kratom bar, so that is something I like to do. Because, yeah, at this point, I'm not really a big drinker. I hardly drink at all anymore. So this is kind of like my next best thing, I guess. Kind of a better addiction.
Talk about the salt cave. A lot of people don't know what these are.
Salt caves are wonderful. So, I mean, there's different kinds out there. The one that I visit is a Himalayan salt cave. So that's your pink salt. And the salt, what it actually does, you go in for about 45 minutes for your session. You lay in one of the anti-gravity chairs, and you just inhale. So you're inhaling the Himalayan sea salt, and it's got 81 different minerals in it. It really digs into the recesses of your lungs and cleans out all the crap and the grossness. It gives you a chance to really boost your immune system. I mean, right now, especially with everything going on with COVID and what have you, it gets right in your skin. It gets right in your body. I mean, it's one of the safest things you could do at this point to work on lung strength and cleaning it out and really boosting all of, like I said, those immune systems. I got news for you. Meditating for 45 minutes is going to de-stress you. which again, that in turn helps on its own because that's what's going to calm the mind. It's going to help you relax more. You'll get the best night's sleep you've ever had. It is wonderful.
A lot of people didn't know about it. That's why I wanted you to talk about it a little bit because
Yeah, I mean, there's
first,
different places. I go to Atlantis Salt Cave in Boca. When I was up north, Sultana out in Ridgefield was amazing.
mm.
So I can definitely recommend those.
Yeah, I knew nothing about it when you first told me about it. So that's why, you know, I mean, and you know me, I kind of dabble my nose in everything, but I didn't know anything about it. So that's why I wanted you to kind of tell people kind of what it was and what it does. Maybe they can look up.
Yeah, no, go give it a try. Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, now you're a runner and you know your physical stuff. Talk about the because you ran a marathon before. Am I correct? Or you've run a
I ran a half marathon.
half marathon. That's still one half.
Yeah, that's 13.1 miles. So yeah, perspective. Yeah, I did that on New Year's Eve. I bought the book, the non-marathon runners training guide. So basically, it takes anybody who's never even run before, and it coaches you to run a full marathon. So I started at about 8 weeks, which is the halfway point. It's a 16-week program before the half marathon, and yeah, it got me there, and I finished successfully. My time was 2.5 hours, maybe. It was something like that, maybe a little less. But no, it was good. Yeah, no, I was excited, and I ran the whole thing, so I was super proud of myself. That was my goal. Didn't matter how fast I was, but to get through it and run the whole thing.
You're pretty, wide open, wide varied, and lots of things. You're a big reader, as we've all talked about. Tell everybody what you're reading.
Well, right now, where's my backpack? So I am still reading, and I'm gonna get through. We talked about this. This is happening. Oh my gosh, I think I lost my bookmark. No. So right now I'm reading The People's History of the United States. That is on the list. I've also been reading a few other things. I finished The Seed of the Soul by Gary Zukav, so that was a good one. I finished that last week. That was kind of my spiritual book along with my learning book. I always have like more than one book when it comes to genres for that. In my spare time, I'm a huge Stephen King fan. I freaking love his stuff.
Yeah.
And I used to be really big. I haven't read them as much lately, but I was really big into like the mystery and the like the spy novels. So like the Vince Flynn stuff and all that kind of stuff. Like I was big into that kind of stuff. Like Clive Cussler, like all those crazy books. Yeah, my grandfather got me into that. But yeah, no, I mean, I'll really read anything just because I like to learn.
Right. So you like everything from regular novels to historical things. You're wide varied as far as what you'll pick up. Correct?
Oh yeah, I kind of just go on a whim. Like if it looks interesting, or you read the jacket or the back, and it's like, okay, this looks cool. It really kind of depends on what kind of mood I'm into, or maybe where I'm going and what kind of time I know I'm gonna have. I mean, that's a factor as well. Like if I'm gonna go sit by the pool, I'm probably not gonna take my history book with me because a lot of distractions, other things going on. Oh man, I just got the 2-minute warning.
Oh, 2-minute warning. Wow, that goes pretty quick. Yeah, we had a good interview here.
I mean, it doesn't mean I can't hit end and start a new one. It's no big deal. But just letting you know, it will cut us off in 1 minute and 42 seconds.
Well, we should wrap it up, and we've had a great interview. I wanted my followers to get to know you the way I know you because you're as I like to say, you're cool as fuck. You're a wonderful, good friend. I love you. I want everybody else to love you. And know what you do and follow your page. So everybody follow Pamela's Essentials and get what she's got. She's got a lot of wisdom that she tosses out there for everybody. So I hope that you follow her. All right.
Oh, thank you. Yes, absolutely. And I just put the August calendar up today, so all the fun stuff is up there. So get ready and sign up.
All right. Follow my friend Babushka. That's my nickname for my little pet name for her. So I hope everybody had a good time learning about Pam. We're gonna both post this on our pages. So if you got any questions, you can just message us and we'll get back to you at some point. All right.
Absolutely. Bye, guys.
See ya.